Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I don't think anybody thought last year at this time, or hell, even 2 months ago, or hell, even a week ago, the Atlanta Hawks would be here. Ladies, gentlemen, fellas, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had a lovely weekend. Hope you all had a lovely past couple of days to start your week off. I'm saying lovely weekend, but it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and we're going to break down this one-game slate. We're going to break it down from a betting perspective. We have a bet in. We hit yesterday Clippers +6. Hey, if you had Clippers money line, you probably feel really bad about Paul George missing 2 free throws. Lay off the guy. It was the first time ever he did that. Lay off the guy. He had to do everything on offense. But, you know, somewhat of a choke artist at the end. But I don't really buy that too much. Player props. We got 3 placed. A spread bet. We got that. DFS. We'll cover that in good depth here. We're going to go player by player and really impact of how this series will look. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's going to look that good for Atlanta. Like and subscribe as we get into this. We will be live to break down any of your questions for this slate here, this game today, and anything spilling into tomorrow's game as well. So we'll be doing that around today, 6 p.m. East Coast time. And we can start in this one on the Atlanta side, and I can show you exactly how I'm projecting this game out. What does that mean? Well, I have projections over on Patreon for this game, for the 2-game slate tomorrow. Well, 2-game slate today and tomorrow, and it basically means I'm projecting minutes. I'm projecting production against these defenses and these specific players. We're projecting out the series, if you will. And we're starting today with game 1. So I'll pull up right now Atlanta's minutes onto the screen. And the only name that's not going to fit is Solomon Hill for 6 minutes. There's a lot of ways Atlanta can go in this series and throughout this series. I just think personally the way that they're going to start it off is similar to what you saw in that last series. So you're going to see a lot of Kevin Huerter. And honestly, they just don't have bodies anymore. Cam Reddish is actually questionable. If you forgot that name, it's because during the regular season, he couldn't make a shot and he's been hurt for a while now. DeAndre Hunter is not going to be playing. And now the biggest thing that you saw towards the end of that Philadelphia series was Bogdan Bogdanovic, apologies. He goes from playing 40 to 42 minutes a game to 28 and 21. Head scratcher. Why is that? Well, he's coming to those games questionable with a right knee injury, and it clearly was impacting him the last 2 games, especially game 7 against the 76ers. His knee was a little bit tweaked, so in this game, I'm giving him 28 minutes to run. You're seeing Huerter get a lot more of those minutes. You're seeing Lou Williams pick up more than 8 minutes in 12 to 14 because of the lack of ability for the health of Bogdanovic. Now, maybe that changes. Maybe a couple days off will help that. I just doubt that it's going to get him back to 100% based on how he looked in Game 7, the most important game of the series and potentially his career, and he's not able to close or play more than 22 minutes in the game. That is concerning. So as you can see in the minutes, outside of that, though, outside of that little tweak, we gave Kevin Huerter 38, Bogdanovic 28. I mean, there's not much more to say. I think Lou Williams fills in the cracks. I think they continue to go with a similar rotation. Solomon Hill is an interesting talk here and talking point. I have him for 6 minutes. I think that's probably what he plays in game 1. But Solomon Hill, look, I don't know what Atlanta is going to do against Giannis. I don't know what Atlanta is going to do against Middleton. I don't know what Atlanta is going to do against Brook Lopez and against Jrue Holiday. Milwaukee has the best matchup of the entire playoffs here, right? The only other individual matchup might be those Phoenix guards, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, when they got to face a banged-up Denver guard unit with Campazzo and PJ Dozier wasn't there, Jamal Murray wasn't there, and you're playing all these guys from Denver that are not filling in well. Monty Morris, right? But I would argue that this is a better overall team matchup, and it might not be close. It's going to be hard for Atlanta here, right? I think that the way Atlanta can steal a game or 2, and that's being generous, a game or 2, and that's just respect for Trae Young, because Bogdanovic is now banged up, potentially your second most important player in this series. I don't really know how much Capella is going to be able to contribute from a take the game to the next level standpoint. It's going to have to be big key pieces from the bench unit, whether that's Gallo coming off the bench and more so Lou Williams, which, you know, you can't keep him out there for too long due to defense. So big offensive flurries for them, and then massive games from Trae Young. Can Trae Young continue to have this great postseason, but can he take it to another level while, also now facing probably his toughest test yet, and yes, more tough than Ben Simmons in Jrue Holiday. And the reason why I say it, you could say, oh no, Ben Simmons is way better, and I'm talking defensively here, but I would say that Jrue Holiday is better on switches, and I would even go out on a limb and say he's much better on switches in terms of getting around them. He's just a more, honestly, being a shorter guard. He's a quicker, faster guard. So I think that that's going to be giving more problems for Trae Young. But on the opposite side of that one, Jrue Holiday had a tough series last time around, or a little bit more difficult of a series in the last round. From an offensive standpoint, not playing too well, right? Having to focus a lot more on the defensive end. Jrue Holiday's not going to have anybody to guard him in this one. Atlanta just doesn't have defensive personnel. And they were able to get away from that in the last series, well, because you just let Joel Embiid do whatever he wants, playing a little bit banged up. Ben Simmons ain't doing nothing. Tobias Harris is as streaky as it gets. We'll let Seth Curry do whatever he wants. And oh yeah, nobody else can hurt us on this team. That's not the case with Milwaukee here. Giannis can do whatever he wants like Joel Embiid, and probably more than that because he's actually healthy. And then you're not going to have the Ben Simmons, Middleton. Ben Simmons and Middleton, totally different offensive players. Middleton will make you pay. I have no idea who they're going to try to put on him. They can try and dust off Tony Snell for this game, gives you nothing on the offensive end and probably not enough on the defensive end to make it worth it. Same exact thing can be said for Solomon Hill. They're probably going to attempt to put Kevin Huerter, who's undersized, on Middleton. Again, not really going to work just to keep offense on the court. There's just nobody here. Oh, you also have Drew Holiday, who, sure, he did struggle. He's another threat there. You're going to have a stretch five. Like, what Philadelphia wants to be is what the Bucks already are, right? If Philadelphia was playing in the series, it'd be a more fun, closer series. The Bucks, in my opinion, I would still take them in 6 or 7. They have spacing. They have built their team around Giannis, just like Philadelphia should build their team probably at this point around Joel Embiid, and we're probably going to see that. They have spacing. They have not just one shooter like they have with Seth Curry and maybe Tobias Harris. They have all shooters. Their center transitioned to a shooter out of Brooklyn, now to Milwaukee and Brook Lopez. Middleton, Drew Holiday, Pat Connaughton comes off the bench. Bryn Forbes comes off the bench. They acquire PJ Tucker, who all he does is play defense and shoot. So, yes, I think that this is going to be a fairly quick matchup. I think that this is going to be something that I want to say Milwaukee in 4, but I have too much respect for Trae Young and what the Hawks have been able to do to this point, especially in their home crowd in Atlanta. I'm going to take the Bucks in 5 in this one. The only adjustments that I think that you may see them do is just go to small ball, which is devastating against Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, if they want to go John Collins at the 5, I mean, John Collins probably can't guard Middleton. He's definitely not going to be able, although they're going to put him on at times in help, going to try to guard Giannis. I think it's going to mainly be Capella just for size reasons and try and bully him around a little bit. But they might go small ball lineups just to get more shooters on the court. And those lineups are probably going to tank them even more, but it could just be a desperation effort, especially late in the game, to get the Bogdanovich, Huerter, Trae Young lineup on the floor with Gallo and John Collins. I don't think they could put Lou Williams on the court with that lineup. Otherwise, it'd be nothing on the defensive end. But you get the point. Maybe take out Huerter and put in Lou Williams instead, something along those lines. Lou Williams when Trae Young is resting, those types of lineups. It could be an adjustment. It could be just a way to try and get going. That's what the Clippers have done, although they have better defensive personnel and three-point shooting, I would say. Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson hot now, Paul George, of course. So you may see some of that. You may see some of the big 3 lineup that they've rolled out there. Again, that's just going to get blown by in transition. It's not going to affect that much, in my opinion, because the big 3 lineup, this is not a team that's looking to rebound in Milwaukee. They're looking to shoot threes. That's about it. They're looking to space the floor and let Giannis do his stuff in the paint. So if you go Gallo, John Collins, and Capella, which has had some success right now so far, the reason why it's had some more success, in my opinion, is you're facing a bigger 76ers team who's not going to push as good or as frequently and efficient in transition. And the same exact thing in the first series against the Knicks. It's a totally different team. They'll beat you in transition. They'll beat you from a three-point standpoint. They'll beat you from just an overall size standpoint and their skill set. It's going to be tough for Atlanta in this one. That being said, though, we can pull back up the minutes for Atlanta from a prop. So here we go. Based on everything that I've said right now, you might already be able to tell that I'm taking Milwaukee -8 in this one. I think that the line might actually move the other way, but I already took the -8. It might move to like -7 if public money comes in on Atlanta. Seeing a semifinals and seeing 8 points is definitely a lot. I do think it's deserving. I think that the spread should probably be closer to -9 to -9.5. So we'll take the -8 on Milwaukee here. They have yet to lose at home in the postseason. And yes, they're playing at home. They have home field advantage here. They have 4 games. The first 2 are going to be at home. I would rank my Atlanta interest, though, as Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari. So those 2 fellas right there. And then fill it in with Trae Young, John Collins, Bogdanovich, and you can put Kevin Huerter in there as well. So those would be my 6 interests. Also in a player pool, though, is Okongwu, but he's more so of a punt play. Now, if we want to get to the player props and which ones I've taken from this side of the ball, I've taken one player from Atlanta, and it's Clint Capella over 29 points. I have Capella well over that. I think he's just going to have to stay out there. Barring foul trouble, there's not really anybody else like Okongwu unless he can somehow do something against Giannis as a rookie. I doubt it. I think Capella's just going to have to stay out there to halt Giannis to an extent. He's not going to be able to come up top all that often. That's where John Collins might switch. But Capella being out there for now probably 36-plus minutes. I have Capella for 36 minutes and 39.28 fantasy points. He has struggled in these series. Capella has had no easy paths. The first series, a very big and good defensively sound Tom Thibodeau New York Knicks team. Struggled. The next series, he gets Joel Embiid, who was hobbled at times, but still struggled. Now this series, he gets Giannis Antetokounmpo potentially. That's not great, although I could see Giannis going on Trae at times. So offensively, I think he'll still struggle. Maybe not as much as the past series to series and a half, but I also think he sees more minutes right out of the gate in this series. So Clint Capella over 29 fantasy points. You can take that and some of the other props we'll get into as we talk through this, the 2 that I have from the Milwaukee side. But you can take that down below. There's a link. All you have to do is go over to Prize Picks. It is a player prop site. You take the over-unders. It's that simple, and they'll give you a free bet right now if you want to try it out. Limited time only. Use my name. Use the link in below. My name, just Sal. They'll use promo codes. You got a promo code? Yeah, Sal. SAL. All right, we'll give you a free bet. Any money you put in, we'll match you for some free bet. You put 50 in, you just got a $50 free bet. You can use it on multiple different bets if you want. $10, $20, $30, whatever you want to do. But it's a limited time offer. If you plan to use it during the NFL season, if you plan to use it in a week, you might as well just sign up now to have it in your account to use it then. That code SAL. We'll talk about the other two that I have momentarily. So there you go. The spread we have right now -8 Milwaukee. There's a player prop from that side. There was our interest on the DFS side. Let's now get to the Milwaukee side of this one. So to start it off right away, look, it's just the opposite of what I said on the other side. Just as much as I don't like Atlanta's matchups in this series, I love the ones for Milwaukee, and I love all the Bucks right here. I mean, in all formats. Player props, they all look underpriced. DFS, they're massively underpriced. SuperDraft, yeah, it's going to be a lot of bucks. We already talked about me liking the spread in this one. I don't have a stance on the total. Like, Drew Holiday is going to get to guard Trae Young. He'll slow him down. And on the opposite side of that one, if Trae Young tries to guard Drew Holiday, it's not going to be too good. Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, throw Brook Lopez into the mix. This is going to be the best matchups, like I said, compared to Denver versus or Phoenix versus those Denver guards. You're likely going to try Capella, maybe some John Collins on Giannis. Likely not going to work all that well. I have no clue who's going to even try and guard Middleton. We've had some theories. Is it Solomon Hill or Tony Snell who are on the bench here? They give you no offense, and that's not going to be great. Maybe at times during the game it is those. Maybe Solomon Hill, like he did in the last series to start, get some spot starts to try it out and see if he could stabilize Middleton and then not worry about what he does on the offensive end. We'll see. There's a chance it's Horder that can guard him. It's just not going to be all that good. I also think that you see a couple of players enter the rotation. Forbes has been in the rotation, might play a little bit more now as his defense is not as much needed, can allow you to space the floor at a lot more times, just not as much needed on a guy like, well, definitely Trae Young if you have Drew Holiday out there, but just not as much needed on secondary guys like Kevin Horder or potentially Tony Snell if he's out there. Like, the more you see Tony Snell and Solomon Hill on the court, the more ease it is to put guys like Bobby Portis and Forbes back out there. Bobby Portis didn't play at all in the last 2 games. He just didn't match up as well. He will get killed on pick and rolls and switches against Trae in this series, no doubt about it. But I have him in the rotation for 6 minutes today. We'll see if he doesn't play. Either way, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let me pull up the Milwaukee minutes onto the screen right now. So the only minutes you're not seeing is just Giannis's brother and Elijah Bryant. I gave them 1 minute apiece, so not all that impactful. So just big minutes for the starters. And you might even see bigger minutes. So look, 42 minutes for Middleton, Drew, and Giannis is what I'm projecting each here. Now, Bud might say, you know what, this is the first game of the series. Hell, this could be a blowout, honestly. Let's just give him 36 to 38. I wouldn't doubt it. 38 seems like the low point, honestly, unless it's a massive blowout. But we'll give him 42 here just because a lack of depth, and why not just get out ahead in the series at home. The main 4 starters, that includes Brook Lopez, are priorities for me today. I have Brook Lopez at 36 minutes. If you think Bobby Portis plays more, I only have him at 6. If you think Bobby Portis can get up to 14, we'll take those minutes directly off of Brook Lopez more than likely and put Brook Lopez at 30, 32, 28, somewhere around there. PJ Tucker, believe he will start, but I'm not shocked if he doesn't. I have Tucker starting at 36 minutes. I'm not shocked if they decide to say, you know what, we don't need the defense in starting PJ Tucker like we did last series when we needed him on Kevin Durant, the only guy to somewhat slow him down. It actually worked at times, but not overall. Really, more so Kevin Durant's own engine of playing 53 minutes in that final game slowed him down, just his own body getting a little bit tired and his legs falling out from under him. But they can start Bryn Forbes here. They can start Pat Connaughton here. I'm not shocked. If they do, we'll update the projections over on Patreon. Outside of that, though, Pat Connaughton for 22 minutes off the bench does look very appealing. And if he starts, well, then you give him 26 minutes and he looks even better. So my interest, if I had to rank them right now from this team, Pat Connaughton would actually be my favorite punt play. He's only $2,200. I don't see how he doesn't play 20 minutes in this game. 18 at the bare minimum. So outside of Connaughton, though, as a punt play, I think he's the best punt play, the best cheap option on the slate. It would definitely be then Giannis, Middleton, Lopez, Drew Holiday, and Tucker in that order, assuming Tucker starts. So the big 4. It's as clear and simple as that. The big 4 are the places that I want to go to. I have currently 2 prop bets, and I'm going to add more later on the live stream once I get some of the point projections and assist and rebound stuff all fine-tuned. But we have player prop ones for fantasy scoring. I have Lopez over 25.5. I currently have Brook Lopez for 32.2 fantasy points. Again, he could lose minutes to Bobby Portis. I don't expect that. That is why I'm projecting it this way. And then I have the best player on the court tonight, Giannis Antetokounmpo, at over 57. Sal, that's crazy. No, it's not. I have Giannis projected for 69.87 points. Now, here's the thing. 69.87 points, almost 70 points, is a whole lot, right? That's a lot for a projection. There's just nobody here to guard him. The problem that you could run into is if this Milwaukee team is up by 25 midway through the 4th quarter. But we've seen a lot of teams blow leads. I don't think you're going to see starters rest unless it's clearly out of hand and there's not that much time left in the game. We've seen the Utah Jazz blow a game 6 when they're up 25. We've seen this Atlanta team come back from down 25 plus points midway through the 3rd quarter. So I think that if the game is at a situation where Giannis is not playing 36 to 38 plus minutes and he's only playing 30 or 32, they're probably up by 30 plus points entering or midway through the 4th quarter, right? And And if that's the case, if they're up 30 plus points, it's probably because Giannis Antetokounmpo has 65 to 70 plus fantasy points. Even if Giannis only plays 36 minutes, which is a low point for him in the postseason, basically, right now, he can still easily hit a 65 to 70 point projection, right? That is in his range of outcomes. During the regular season, if Giannis was playing 36 minutes, you were like, holy shit, he's going to score 70 points, right? That's simple. This is a guy who averages 1.7, 1.8 fantasy points per minute for most of his career. So that is where I'm at on those guys. Again, if you want to take these props that you can see on the screen right now and even more of them, just get that offer. It's a limited time only. Use the code SAL, free money match up to $100. You just get that free bet to play with. And honestly, it's better to be using these on the showdown slates and the 2-game slates. Definitely the showdown slates. Showdown contests suck if it's the NBA. They're good if it's other sports. Obviously, it's good for NFL, for PGA. We've talked about this on the live stream. They suck for the NBA. Play more player props, bet on more lines, play in different formats that you can't have the exact same lineups as everybody else for the most part, right? If you're going to go out there and play some showdowns, at least get a little bit different with it in the ways that you're going to be playing. Try some other formats out. Try some spots where you actually have an edge because contests don't fill. SuperDraft is one of those spots as well. So SuperDraft, we talked about them yesterday. A good amount of people gave me some feedback on it. It's a $10,000 contest. You just don't have to worry about salary. So this is a lineup that I'm going to be going with. I think Brook Lopez is the best SuperDraft captain. And then the only guy I really want in Atlanta is Kevin Huerter. You can go to Trae Young and some things like that. This is a multiplier format. It's another site called SuperDraft. This is where I'm going to be getting some action down as well because, look, a $2,000 first prize pool when the contests aren't filling all that much and it's not that competitive, as competitive over on SuperDraft. In my opinion, you can just split less as well because there's just less people in the contest. There's only like 400 people in this contest. If you want to try it out, they'll give you a free $25 play when you sign up using that code SAL as well. But that is basically where we are at. We have the Milwaukee -8. We have those 3 props. We went through all of our interest in DFS. My overall DFS interest today is going to be very, very skewed towards Milwaukee. I would say my overall interests are going to be Giannis, Middleton, Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, and Capella. My overall punt interest would be 1, Pat Connaughton, punt meaning cheap plays. 1, Pat Connaughton, 2, Onika Okongwu, and then 3, if you really wanted to, PJ Tucker at 3,800. But that's where we're at, gang. It's as simple as that. I don't think there's going to be much of a series. Out of respect for Trae Young, I'll say it goes 5 games. These are just two totally different match teams. And one of them is, outside of Dante DiVincenzo, basically fully healthy here for this Milwaukee team. The other one, definitely dealing with injuries. Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, now Bogdanovic. It's not looking too good for Atlanta. So thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you in the live stream later today, about an hour to an hour and a half before the game starts. We'll go live for about 40 minutes to answer your questions. Peace out, gang. Enjoy the rest of the day. Best of luck on this slate, and I'll see you all in the next one.